So, welcome to the final video in our Rockefeller Method series. We've covered the insurance strategy, the trust structure, and now we're tackling what literally might be the most important element, the family education. Rick, I have heard you say that you can have the perfect financial structure, but without family education, it all falls apart. Why is that?
You know, think about it this way. All the life insurance and trusts in the world won't matter if the next generation doesn't understand the responsibilities that come with wealth. We've all heard the statistics. 70% of wealthy families lose their wealth by the second generation, 90% of the wealth by the third. The reason isn't bad investment or poor trust structure, it's a lack of preparation and education.
Wow. So, this is really about preparing people, not just preparing documents.
Exactly. The Rockefellers understood that their greatest asset wasn't their oil fortune, it was their children and the grandchildren who would be stewards of that fortune. They invested as much in human capital as they did in financial capital.
Wow.
That's what family governance is all about.
So let's define what we mean by family education because it sounds formal and might be intimidating to some people.
Family government is simply the policies, practices, and processes that help a family make decisions, communicate effectively, and transfer values alongside wealth. It includes things like family meetings, family council, family constitutions, educational programs, and communication protocols. It's creating intentional structures around how your family operates.
So the Rockefellers were famous for their family meetings. What did those look like?
They held regular family meetings, sometimes monthly or quarterly,
Okay.
where they discussed everything from business decisions to philanthropic, meaning charity initiatives, to personal development.
Okay.
It wasn't just about money, it was about staying connected as a family,
Okay.
making decisions together, and ensuring everyone understood the family's mission and values.
So how do you start implementing something like this in your own family?
You start simple. Don't try to create a Rockefeller structure overnight. Begin with quarterly family dinners where you talk about money, not just here's your portfolio, but meaningful conversation. What does wealth mean to you? What do you want money to enable in your life? What are our family's values? And what legacy do we want to leave?
That's interesting because you're starting with values before even getting into the technical stuff.
Values must come first. If everyone's aligned on values, the financial decisions become easier. Let me give you an example. Say your family values education and entrepreneurship. When your daughter wants to start a business, borrowing from the family's trust makes sense. Values become the filter of all decisions.
So let's talk about teaching kids about money. At what age do we even start this?
Well, the Rockefellers started very young, even elementary school age. Obviously, you're not teaching complex financial concepts to a 6-year-old, but you are teaching basic principles: savings, earnings, giving, spending wisely. John D. Rockefeller famously gave his children allowances, but required them to keep detailed ledgers of every penny they spent.
Well, that seems kind of strict, but I guess it taught discipline.
It taught responsibility and accountability.
Okay.
Those children grew up understanding that wealth isn't magical. It's the result of careful management. They tracked their money the way their father tracked Standard Oil's money. By the time they were adults, financial responsibility was second nature.
So what about teenagers? What should they be learning?
Teenagers should start learning about investing, compounding interest, taxes, and insurance. But more importantly, they should start working.
Oh, what concept.
Yeah, right. The Rockefellers required their children to have jobs, even though they were from one of the wealthiest families in the world.
Wow.
Earning your own money teaches you its value in a way that someone just given money never can.
Well, I love that because it keeps them grounded.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And when they do receive money from the family, it's viewed as a tool to amplify their efforts, not replace them. The trust isn't there to make life easy, it's there to make life more impactful.
Wow. So let's talk about the family meetings in more detail. What should be on the agenda?
Uh, every family is different, but here's a basic framework. First, family updates. What's going on in everybody's life,
Yeah.
personal and professional? This maintains a connection.
Mm-hmm.
Second, financial reviews. Not every detail, but high level updates on how the family's trust is performing,
Mm-hmm.
what major decisions are coming up. And third, educational component. Maybe you bring in an expert to teach about family or financial topics, or one family member shares what they've learned.
Okay.
And fourth, decision making. Are there any major decisions that need family input?
So who leads the meetings?
Initially, the patriarch or the matriarch typically leads, but as time goes on, leadership should rotate. In fact, the Rockefellers intentionally develop leadership skills in all family members by giving everyone a chance to lead these meetings,
Wow.
present ideas, and make decisions. This prevents power struggles and ensures continuity.
So what about a family constitution? That sounds so formal.
It is formal, and not every family needs one immediately, but for families serious about multi generational wealth, a family constitution is invaluable. It's essentially a written document that outlines the family's values,
Okay.
missions, and decision making processes, rules of accessing the trust's funds. It requirements for family members and conflict resolutions should one present itself.
Okay. So give me some examples of things that you might put in there.
Sure. Value statements like, our family values education, entrepreneurship, and giving back.
Okay.
Mission statements like, we exist to create opportunities for family members to pursue their passions while maintaining financial security.
Okay.
Rules like family members must complete college and work for at least 5 years before accessing the trust principal.
Wow.
Or trust loans for business ventures require a business plan or approval from the family council.
Wow. I love the clarity in that, and it prevents arguments later.
Exactly. When everything is documented and agreed upon, there's less room for conflict. Everyone knows the rules, and the rules apply to everyone equally. This is crucial as the family grows and spreads out geographically.
So let's talk about the thing that's really hard. What happens when family members make poor choices? How do you balance support with accountability?
This is where the trust structure and family governance, family education work together. The trust terms should include provisions for addiction, financial irresponsibility, criminal behavior, whatever concerns that the family has.
Okay, so what about family members who aren't really good with money naturally? Not everyone has that skill.
That's where financial education comes in. Make it a requirement. Trust beneficiaries must complete financial literacy courses,
Okay.
meet with advisors quarterly, demonstrate budgeting skills. You can even include provisions where beneficiaries receive increasing amounts as they demonstrate financial competence. Start with modest distributions while they're learning, increase as they prove responsible with that money.
So how do you handle family disputes about money?
The family constitution should include a conflict resolution process.
Okay.
The key is having a process everyone agreed to when things were good. So when conflicts arise, you're not making up rules in the heat of emotion.
Okay. So let's talk about being philanthropic, right? The Rockefellers were famous for their charitable giving. How does that fit into the family education?
Yeah, charitable giving serves multiple purposes. First, it teaches values, giving back, thinking beyond yourself, making an impact. Second, it provides a way for family members to work together on meaningful projects.
Yeah.
And third, it helps manage wealth in a tax efficient way. Many Rockefeller style families set up family foundations where multiple generations work together on charitable initiatives.
So younger generations can get involved in the foundations even before they're managing their own wealth.
Exactly. A
Okay.
teenager might serve on the foundation's board, review grant applications, visit charitable projects. They're learning about money decision making and impact, all in a lower stakes environment than managing their inheritance.
Okay.
By the time they're adults, they've got years of experience.
So let's talk about communication. How do you keep multiple generations communicating effectively?
Well, technology helps. Many families use private family websites, messaging groups, video calls, or meeting when people are spread out.
Okay.
But in person gatherings are crucial. Annual family retreats where everyone gets together, maybe at a special location, create bonds that can be replicated virtually.
Okay.
Their retreats might include business discussions, but also fun activities, family
Right.
history telling, and celebrations.
Okay. So what about when the wealth creator, the person who built the fortune, is still alive but getting older? How do you transition that leadership?
This is crucial. This transition must be planned and discussed openly.
So what does success look like?
Success is family members who are financially literate, value alignment, and are close knit.
Okay.
They might not all work in the family business, but they understood the responsibilities as stewards.
Okay.
They use the family's resources to amplify their work, not replace it. They give back. And they're intentionally teaching the next generation. Success means the family's wealth is a tool for good, not a source of conflict.
Okay. So if somebody is watching this and think, well, I want to start implementing a family education, what's the very first step?
First, have a conversation. Tonight at dinner, say to your family, I want to talk about our values and what we want money to mean for our family. Start there. You don't need a trust. You don't need millions of dollars. You need intentionality. Then, as your wealth grows, you build a structure around those values.
And for people who already have significant wealth and realize they've been neglecting this, what do?
It's never too late to start, but the sooner the better. Hire a family education consultant who can facilitate these conversations. Sometimes bringing in a neutral third party to make difficult decisions.
Okay, so I'm going to give y'all a real life example. I had a client who inherited $3 million, and we bought a $3.5 million life policy on him. 2 years later, he passed away, and his wife received $7 million. But when he was living, we had him go ahead and buy a house for cash, and they replaced their family cars, and he paid for college. They had 5 children. He went ahead and funded college for all 5 children. And now when she inherited $7 million, she said, do a plan for me like you did for him. We took $2 million, put it into a life policy, which bought her a $13 million death benefit. Okay? If she is still living at age 65, she will start using the cash value in there for tax-free income for the rest of her life. But when she passes away, $13 million will go into the family trust. Yeah. And they are now, as a family, working on their family constitution, but she's talking to them about what her values are. What do we stand for as a family? When I'm gone, what legacy do I want to leave? Those are the conversations they're having so that they get to the point where the Rockefellers were. And each of those children, we bought we put $100,000 into a life policy for each of them. And so they already have cash value when they get, they're still teenagers, y'all. When they get older, they will be able to tap into that when they finish college and want to start a business, or maybe go buy a house, or just get started in life, you know? This is a plan that not only works, I have seen it be masterful for families. Again, I'm Juanita Stevens. I'm the owner of J. Stevens Wealth Management here in Texas. If you would like more information about this, please reach out to us at JSTEPHENS wealthmanagement.com, or you can call us at 512-598-9080. My guest is Rick Gomez. Thank you so much. Any last words?
Juanita is a great resource, an advisor that knows this dynasty trust, family trust very well. I would tell you, start thinking about those values, start to feel about your structure, and start talking to Juanita about building that dynasty for your family.
Okay, thank y'all for joining us. See you on the next video.